Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Ji ayanu, bakhair agale, ni hao, chunashumme, washmale. Ohio Gonzaimes, guten Morgen, hola, bonjour, privet, kaifa hal? Haleshu machatore, ahlan masalan marhaba. Buna, mucho gracias, swabia, balli kare aya, hosh ke aldin. Anayo sayo, khuyamora, chivato, chihal, yud, kalimera. And a very warm welcome to everybody who's tuned into PTV World and watching World this morning. Alongside my very well-known colleague who happens to be Miss Haja Sati. I happen to be Shahzad Hassan Khan, and we hope and pray that everybody out there is doing wonderfully well and that you're ready to kickstart your day with us. But first things first, hello Hajra, Assalamu Alaikum. How are you feeling on a hot sunny morning, Thursday morning in fact, over here in Islamabad?
Walaikum assalam. Thank you so much. I think I'm feeling great because Friday is about to come and it's the end of the week. So certainly we will have the 2 holidays in a resting week. But having said so, Shahzad shared some very interesting facts a few days ago on a WhatsApp group which was about the fast fashion and how the European Union has actually banned or forwarded a recommendation in which they have asked the fashion industry to act more responsibly, because we have seen, Shahzad, that there is this race to dress up every day, and especially I think that I don't want to be labeled as sexist, but I do feel, especially among this woman, that there is this race to dress up new every day, and which is creating a lot of pressure on the earth's resources, because obviously new clothes means a new investment, new investments means a lot of pressure on the earth, and certainly you can't have a wardrobe ready for the 365 days for the entire
but there are
year.
people, you know, who have literally done that. But I certainly like this news. And it was because of the fact that, imagine that, you know, Europe actually happens to be the capital of fashion, may it be Italy, may it be France. And then, you know, for them to think about that, we really need to think about fashion in a very sustainable way, where it's affordable for people, where we are not actually risking a lot of animal lives as well, because we spoke about, you know, cow hides and whatnot, and how these brothers actually came up with cactus leather as well. But ladies and gentlemen, the amount of money which people were spending on their fashion needs or probably fashion wants was something which the government wanted to look after. And that's why they made sure that they're going to kind of get in touch with all of those brands.
Of course.
That, hey, you know what, you know, okay, fashion is fine, but we really need to make sure that people can live a healthier life as well. You know, but people have been investing on their clothes and shoes. I mean, imagine a perfume worth 500 pounds. You know, that's somewhat around 200, in fact, 400,000 rupees over here.
I think
in
that's
Pakistan.
a very medium amount of the range you're saying, because perfumes ranges are very, very expensive, especially when it comes to luxury brands. And Shahzad, this reminds me of another debate. So in the recent years, you might have seen in the social discourses, or especially on the media discourses, that how the concept of the pre-loved is getting a lot of recognition, right? So pre-loved means that the clothes or the things that are already used, and then they can be further put into the use. And this is also the idea that hinges around the concept of the sustainability, right?
Exactly. And in addition to pre-loved, I think that, you know, we've always been taught that, okay, you know, if there's something which you certainly do not feel like wearing, give it to somebody.
Of course.
You know, after every 4 months, 5 months, take a good look at your wardrobe, and if there's something, please make sure that you help someone else. You know, this way, this cycle continues. Everybody gets to wear some good pieces, some new clothes, some new shoes, and some pre-loved ones as well. Because I have a lot of friends now, and I've convinced them to this bit that, okay, I don't mind pre-loved, because of the fact that, imagine that if there's something you're going to pay for 55,000 rupees, and now you can get it for 15,000 rupees just because somebody wore it 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Just bring it back home, wash it, and enjoy it, ladies and gentlemen. And because the sole purpose of sharing this news was that, imagine that just a year ago, you know, I read this research article which was about, you know, the youngsters of Islamabad, where they were skipping out on their meals just to get their hands on the branded stuff. So imagine, to save money, they weren't eating food, and that's not what they want. And that's the sole reason why we actually shared this news with you, that all the fashion hubs are going to collaborate and make sure that fashion is more sustainable rather than spending a lot of money.
And it's imposed by the government, because it's not just about the fashion industry. I think consumers also need to change their habits that are more in line with the sustainable development, or more a sustainable earth or the fashion, right? So Shahzad mentioned about how a lot of kids are, or maybe consumers are, skipping their meals just to be more brand conscious in that way. So that's the habit that they have to change in the first place, right? And that also brings us to this debate of creating wants and needs and all of this stuff. But in the West, you will find this concept of a lot of garage sales, right? Where they sell out their stuff and make sure that that stuff is used in another better place, right? Or
and
maybe
imagine,
the concept of flea markets in the first place, right? We do have flea markets.
And even Turkey, you know, there are these markets. Even in Bangkok, you know, I went to this Khao San Road, where these cheap markets as well, and you can get almost everything. everything.
Yes.
But only, one last thing before we move on towards our top
Yes.
stories, and that is that if you want to be that fashionista, if you want to be that diva, if you want to be that fashion icon, please make sure that you spend your own money. Earn it first and then spend it, so you would know कि कितने 20 का 100 होता है. I think that's an example which everybody needs to understand, because I've seen a lot of kids enjoying this luxury life on their parents' money, which the parents might not even like, and the parents wearing a simple shalwar kameez, a kurta or a khedi, while the kids are actually wearing Balenciaga and whatnot. So ladies and gentlemen, please make sure that you're reasonable with your parents and earn first, so that you know the value of that money which you are paying for a Balenciaga jacket. It was £900 when I went to England. Never bought it.
Okay, and I think that reminds me something else when you talk about England, but we will have discussion some other day. But obviously, you need to invest more responsibly, because that is how, if you want to be a responsible citizen.
But I saved for a complete year before I bought it, and it was just one purchase.
I was just reminded of how it didn't got me chocolates. It's not
and I even saved like £1,000 or £1,500 that I wanted to buy a Hermes belt and whatnot. And then eventually, when I landed in Holland, I still remember that only my hotel bill was £1,400, so I had to drop the Hermes belt or the scarf or whatnot. So ladies and gentlemen, the wishes, the wants will always be there. We'll keep on asking Allah Almighty, and inshallah one day we'll get it. I'm pretty sure.
Okay, so moving on to top stories, which is about the economic survey. So certainly it's June, it's the fiscal year of Pakistan, where the budget is usually presented on 9th of June. So economic survey containing the details of major socio-economic achievements during the outgoing fiscal year will be launched in Islamabad today. Finance Minister Ishaq Dar will chair the launching ceremony. The economic survey will provide the details about the major socio-economic development, performance and economic trends of various sectors of the economy, including agriculture, manufacturing, industries, services, energy, information technology, telecom, capital markets, health, education, transport and communication, annual trends of major economic indicators regarding inflation, trade and payments, public debt, population, employment, climate change and social protections will also be described in detail in the economic survey. And certainly, Shahzad, in this era of global inflation, I constantly keep using the word global inflation, because you've been to abroad in the UK and other countries, and you've seen the effects of the inflation around the world, especially in the West, and that trickle down to the third world countries too. It's a very, I think, gigantic task in order to make sure that you also cater to the population or your citizens and make sure that your country is on the right track. So economic survey is going to be unveiled today, which will produce what is the state of the art of the Pakistan's economy, and we wish the government best of luck.
Exactly. And where you mentioned global inflation, Hajar, to be very honest, I think other than the currency depreciation, I think Pakistan is still doing better on that front, because imagine I've seen 50% of inflation in UK, where people were earlier getting fuel for probably £1, and now it was somewhat around 1.80. So you can actually imagine that how global inflation has actually taken its toll on globally, that's why we're calling it.
And there are protests going on in the France, there are the protests going on in the Germany, and it's all about
even in England, the doctors were protesting because they were only getting paid £14 per hour.
Nurses are protesting, so were the teachers protesting. I mean, there was a union out there who was protesting because they're not getting the amount of the money that they need in order to work. So you will see that there is this spike of the inflation across the world. I think there were some protests in the Southeast Asia also, because the people, citizens are asking for more protections, for more social reforms, so that the governments could cater to it. So we certainly hope that things come to an better and a more productive end, and where we are able to see this menace of global inflation fade away.
Exactly. All the political parties signing an economic charter as well, I think, so that we kind of stay on track. But ladies and gentlemen, tomorrow, PTV World will have an entire day of dedicated transmission on budget. Inshallah, we'll start with our morning show from 10 till 12, and then throughout the day we'll make sure that we keep you updated. Moving on to where it happens to be the most important day, it's close to our heart, Hajar's heart as well, and to our entire team, because it happens to be World Oceans Day today, which is being observed, and the awareness among people for the sustainable management and conservation of the oceans. The theme for World Oceans Day 2023 is Planet Ocean Tides Are Changing. Planet Ocean Tides Are Changing. These aims to raise awareness of the importance of the ocean and the need to protect it. World Ocean Day is a United Nations designated day celebrated every year globally among maritime community to highlight the importance of safe and healthy oceans. If you have a small package to share, go ahead so that you have a better understanding towards the end of it.
Today, the world's Oceans Day is being celebrated. The day is an annual global event celebrated on 8th June every year to raise awareness about the importance of oceans and the need to protect and restore them. The day began as a concept in 1992 at the Earth Summit in Rio de Janeiro and became officially recognized by the United Nations in 2008. The theme of Oceans Day 2023 is Planet Ocean, Tides Are Changing. It aims to uncover the hidden facets of Earth and create a fresh surge of enthusiasm for preserving and safeguarding its oceans and our entire blue planet. The theme also highlights the effects global warming has had on ocean life, those who live near it and depend on it for their livelihoods. Oceans cover 70% of the world, produces 50% of the planet's oxygen, hosts 80% of its biodiversity, play a central role in economic trade and transport. More than 3 billion people depend on oceans for income, diet, and medicine. They also absorb about 30% of carbon dioxide, buffering impacts of global warming. Oceans support humanity's and every other organism's sustenance on Earth. But with most of its big fish populations depleted and 50% of coral reefs destroyed, we are taking more from the oceans than can be replenished. World Oceans Day highlights the need to work together to create new balance with the oceans that no longer depletes their bounty but instead restores their vibrancy and brings them new life. Reporting for PTV World, this is Ali Danish.
Thank you so much, Ali Danish, for this wonderful report. And people, we've just, I think it was day before yesterday that we did a show which was about, pollution and plastic and whatnot.
Yes.
So imagine the research actually said that by 2050 there's going to be more plastic than the fish in the ocean as well.
Yes.
And Haja even spoke about coral reefs being damaged. So we really need to look after the ecology of the oceans because it provides quite a lot good life to us.
That's very true. And so before the red light of this camera went away, so I asked Azad, what sort of movies are you interested? Because it's the summer and we see some huge blockbusters of the Hollywood coming in. For example, we talked about the Tom Cruise Mission Impossible coming in. And he said that he's mostly into the genre of action, thriller and espionage and whatnot. So talking about the movies and talking about the Hollywood's blockbusters and big thrillers coming up. So returning to the action and spectacle that have captured moviegoers around the world. Transformers, The Rise of the Beast will take audience in a 90s globe-trotting adventure with the Autobots and introduce a whole new faction of Transformers, the Maximal, to join them as an allies in the existing Battle of the Earth. The film arrives in the theatres on 9th of June 2023.
So obviously one of the reasons for me to actually kind of get hooked to Transformers was, the first ever release of Transformers where Megan Fox was starred in it as well. And, obviously Megan Fox happens to be one of the prettiest ladies all over the globe. So hence, since then, I think I have never missed any movie of Transformers. Ladies and gentlemen, coming out tomorrow. Please make sure that you keep your eyes out for this.
Yeah, it's in the international theatres. We don't know if the same date is for the Pakistani cinema. So brace for yourself for this very enchanting and action thriller movie because the Autobots and all of this is a huge industry right now.
Yeah.
So talking about, I think we...
Sustainable fashion first.
Yes.
And then when we speak of sustainable fashion, how do we really need to groom ourselves. And when
Yes.
we speak of grooming, you know, do you think that being well dressed or being well groomed is something where there's a distinction in between, or do you
Huge
think
one, yes.
that, you know, both of these words actually kind of explain the same thing?
No, I think one is the subset of the another, but there's so a lot of difference between being well groomed and well dressed. So we see a lot of people who are well dressed, but they're not well groomed, right? We might encounter a lot of such people in our own experiences, but in order to answer these questions, we have someone in the studio who has been expert in that field, especially when it comes to the grooming and the dressing.
So Haja, the best part is, you know, so his profile is very amazing, and
Yes.
it's because of the fact that he was based in the United States and
New York.
he's worked with a lot of senators and world leaders and
Yes.
global heads and made sure that he's going to kind of give them what they actually wanted. So, you know, not just the clothing bit of it, but the way you communicate non-verbally,
Yes.
the way you need to have sync with your verbal communication
Yes.
and your non-verbal communication. This guy, ladies and gentlemen, is a legend when it comes down to dressing you up as well. And not just that, you know, in making sure that you feel confident within whatever you're wearing. Ladies and gentlemen, we're very lucky that we've actually been joined by the fashion guru himself. He happens to be an image consultant. He is Mr. Hamid Saeed. Assalamu alaikum, sir. Good morning. How are you feeling today?
Well, Islam, I feel great, and this opening is about sustainable fashion. I think it's a very important topic, and I'm gonna share some thoughts on that.
And so
Sure.
thank you so much for joining us. Wonderful to have you over here. You look really amazing, and just like always, you know, longer socks, you know, white shirt, pink tie. Every time he's over here, he would make me understand that, hey, you know what, Shazad, that's what you need to do. But sir, today we're on a very different journey. So imagine that being well dressed, or do you think that being well groomed kind of resonates the same meaning, or is there a distinction in between?
Well, before I answer that question, I wanna just add to what you said about this fast fashion and sustainable. You know, we can all help. And the problem starts here is that if I were to ask you how many clothes do you have in your closet, and you too, I'm doing this talk and conversation from KP all the way to Karachi, and I do ask people. I said, what percentage of your clothing that you have in your wardrobe that you actually wear?
Yeah.
Yes.
And the answer is this, and it would be, it would be astonishing answer that we wear only 25 to 30% of our clothes, and the rest 60 to 70% we don't even wear.
Yeah.
So I asked them. I said, so you don't wear 70% of your clothes. So how do they get in there, all these clothes? I
Yes.
mean, obviously you paid money for it.
Yes.
I mean, we're talking about these kids who are starving and they want to buy clothes,
Yes.
and you can check their closet also out. It's going to be tons of clothes there.
True.
So what happened is there are buying mistakes that we're making.
Right.
We look at a shirt, we say, hey, why did I buy this? Maybe it was on sale or something like that. So the problem is this, that we make the buying mistakes. So we can all help. We're all the consumers. If we buy right and we buy what we need, then I tell you something, we can really serve the planet very well.
And that's something which
Yes.
I actually learned from Mr. Shoaib Akhtar. He's
Yes,
a legendary
yes, yeah.
cricketer, and
Yes.
so whenever we would be on television, he would only wear, he I think only had 3 or 4 t-shirts,
Right.
and he would repeat the same ones, but expensive ones,
Right.
Okay,
Okay,
not the other ones.
Yeah.
But having said so, sir, what I would want to kind of say over here before we move on to the
Right.
distinction part of it, that is that, on e-commerce and, with digital marketing, you get so impulsive,
Right.
and you're like, okay, this is something which I
Yes.
need. I saw this gentleman
right,
wearing
right.
this, and they have these amazing models who are wearing
Right.
those clothes, and they look perfect on them, and not realizing that your waist is 38 or 36 or 40,
Yeah.
you order it, and when it comes down to you, it does not look the way you imagined that it
Yeah.
might look.
Yes.
Yeah, the key word is impulsive.
Yes.
We're impulsive, and we go there and we just, buy this and buy this and buy that. And, if we really know the science of it,
Yeah.
what we should have in our closet, and I think that could greatly help. But let's move on to the
Distinction of it,
interesting
yes.
topic, well groomed and well dressed. What's the difference? Well, let me give you an example. I was at Marriott in Karachi, and I saw this guy. He was walking like he's the king, and I saw him from the distance. And so he was wearing a nice suit, but then he was wearing a tie which was 20 years old. The tie which looks like a bib.
Yeah.
Very white tie. So
Bib.
that's the problem. He looks well dressed, but he's not well groomed.
Yeah.
When you want to look well groomed, what it means is that you need to look current. It's very, very important. It doesn't have to be expensive. For example, today's the tie width is about 2.5 to maybe 2.75 inches. Unless you have a humongous body, then you can carry a little bit wider tie. And then same thing goes with shoes. You know, you wearing like a very strong, you know, it's a two-piece suit is the strongest garment that you can wear. And guess what? You're wearing a casual shoes with it.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, how does it work?
But it's in these days, you know, so you see all of these rappers, you see all of these singers, amazing people.
Right.
And what they do is, so they would wear a t-shirt underneath, you know, they would wear a two-piece, and then they would wear their expensive sneakers underneath, and that's how they perform.
But imagine a banker looking like that, you know? So, I mean, you know, you have to know what you're doing, who your target audience is.
Right.
So
probably joggers or sneakers under shalwar kameez as well.
Well,
we have a culture of that over here.
I mean, it's a big no-no, but we have seen some very important people doing this in Pakistan.
But
so the distinction in between.
In the recent years, Shahzad, we've seen especially this trend because there's a corporate culture and they have a particular dressing to it, right? So you have to be suited, booted, and you have to make sure that you
with corporate culture, they moved on. Now they're like, okay, you know, whatever you feel relaxed in.
And especially with the introduction of millennials into the workforce, a lot of millennials are not comfortable with that suited, booted, or with that high heels because they complain of not being very easy when they're working, and now they want to have the same sneakers or joggers and jeans and t-shirt, which makes them feel comfortable,
the key here is this, you know, is every garment, every look is not perfect for every situation. It's called the situation dressing according to situation, situational dressing. So let's say, for example, you have a very important meeting, you know, it's a board meeting and, you know, it's a power meeting, or you are meeting with somebody who's a big fish and you're a small fish. And imagine you go in there, I mean, big fish is going to eat the small fish in the end, you know, no matter how you cut it. So you go there and you look like, you know, very casual. You go in there. I mean, have you seen a casual guy sitting on a chair? I mean, he sits like this, then he goes like this, then he goes like this. I mean, that's the look. I mean, it's not a power look. So in that case, you need to, you know, I mean, look powerful. So in that case, I would say is that probably, you know, if that meeting is that big for you, then probably two-piece suit will work there. On the other hand, let's say, for example, you go to a country club and you're invited there for, let's say, for example, to just schmooze over there, or you're going to have a lunch. I mean, probably two-piece, three-piece suit is overdressing there. So you'll probably go there, but again, you don't want to look like everybody else, so maybe you'll wear a sport jacket with this and maybe a check shirt or something like that. So I think the key is here is what's the situation. And the last thing I would want to say is this. People should look authentic. You must look authentic. So if you are a shalwar kameez type of guy, why do you want to wear a two-piece suit? I mean, you wouldn't even know how to walk. I mean, people will recognize this. Hey, this guy probably is wearing the suit the very first time. So in that case, but then again, on the other extreme, I mean, it's, you know, it's our national dress, but we have made it a sleeping suit. You know, the guy says, I'm gonna live in it, I'm gonna sleep in it, and then in the morning I'm gonna go to the meeting, and maybe I'll put a little perfume on, and the people are gonna say, "Sir, you?" And they would say, "No, I'm a simple guy." So that doesn't cut it either. So shalwar kameez, you have to know the fitting, and then, you know, I would say the shalwar kameez fitting has to be taken as seriously as a two-piece suit.
True.
You know, I mean, that's where people just miss
I don't like those loose shalwar kameez and, you know, no muscle, no body outline, nothing at all.
Especially for a guy who's like a little have a tummy, you know, when he goes to the tailor, he says, look, you know, make sure that I'm comfortable here. Thoda sa khula kar dena. And you know what he does? He makes it khula here, he makes it big here, and he makes it like a tent. And you look like, you know,
I think we all have problem with our tailors because in the first course, they never gave us things that are going to be rolled out very smoothly. So we have to, I mean, twice or thrice go to their shops and make sure that our things get straightened out. But referring back to Shahzad's conversation about the distinction between well-groomed and well-dressed. So, I mean, I said in the introduction, we see a lot of people who are well-dressed, but they're not well-groomed, right? And I think it's more than the aptitude which determines your success. So, no one would like to hang out with the people who are gossipers, who are constantly cribbing about people. So, you want to hang out with people who have general positive outlook towards your life. Yes, and they talked more about their life and how they want to be in their life, or that they have this great vision about it, right? So do you agree with this assertion about a strong distinction, demarcation between well-groomed and well-dressed? So if you want to be well-groomed, what are the key ingredients?
Well, the key ingredient I would say is that non-verbal communication, okay? And what's non-verbal communication? You know, we communicate through the way we're talking, and then we communicate through how we look, how our attire is, and not only attire, but our personality, our persona, our aura about us. So let's say, for example, I'm a successful guy, but I look highly unsuccessful, for example. You know, I do also, you know, presentation to judges. You know, I mean, we can't tell judges what to do,
Yeah,
but
and you have
I
two
have found a way how to
bespoke,
talk to them.
You have 2 bespoke boutiques, one in Lahore, one in Karachi. He's a very successful guy.
Right.
Okay, please
Thank you very
continue.
much. So the key is this: that what do I communicate? What messages do I give through my attire, through my dressing, and through my personality? So the key messages could be one that you know you need to look successful. If you don't look successful, it's a non-starter. I mean,
Can a car help? You know, whatever car you're driving, doesn't matter what you're wearing.
Well, you know, I'm talking about right when it's in the meeting. I mean,
right.
nobody knows,
Face
like,
to
you know,
face.
this is, by the way, this is the point. When people meet, they can't see your car, they can't see your house, you know.
Right.
So anyway, that's number one. Number two is you've got to look confident. If you don't look confident, the game is over.
I'm confident even shirtless.
Yeah. Well, it depends on who the target audience is.
In the gym only, yeah.
I know. So anyway, so you gotta look confident, and then is it trustworthy, incredible. Imagine if a guy doesn't look trustworthy, or girl, you know, doesn't look. I mean, who's gonna buy things from him? Who's gonna buy into his agenda or whatever that you know he or she is pushing? So trustworthiness and credibility is very important. Authority is very important. Let's say you are in a position, you have authority position, right? You know, you lead a team and whatever, and if you look like you have no authority.
Yeah.
So believe it or not, you know, you're not going to get that far. So I would say that you got to think about this in terms of this. Okay, if I'm a woman, I would say, oh, this scarf, you know, what does it say about me? You know, scarf is right here. So what color I'm going to wear? What's going to say about me? Similarly, if I'm wearing a tie, what does tie say about you? Same thing is the shirt and the whole. So we have to really know what messages we want to give, and is our attire giving those messages.
And I'm sorry, I have to interject here because I do recall a very interesting anecdote. So you talked about how 3-piece lends you some authority, right? So few years back, one of my khalu, his car was stolen because few men came up, landed up in a very suited, booted position, and they took away cars, and the guards never checked because they said that we feel that they are some, you know, very suited, booted people, and they are the people of the authority. So the looks can be misleading.
You just gave $1 million idea to a lot of people who want to lead this misleading life as well.
Look, I have nothing to do with it.
Creative ideas of, I mean, the theft and all of these
Yeah, but
things.
very quickly, sir, I have two questions for you.
Yes.
Number one, I would want you to listen to me carefully, and that is that, you know, you gave us an example of a big fish and a small fish, and you go in a meeting and you really need to make sure that you dress up accordingly. Now, the problem over here is, with internet and e-commerce and everything, you know, so everybody gets to know about all the big fish, you know, may it be Sean Tate, may it be Mark Zuckerberg, may it be anybody else. And they have this, you know, think to themselves that they will wear the same jean and the same shirt, and, you know, wherever they are going. It's their office in the first place. Number two, you know, if I am to give this reference of Mark Zuckerberg, you know, when he was going for his hearings to the court, he would dress up properly, okay? That's number two.
I was going to say that. So
yeah,
okay,
and number three, when we speak of, you know, country clubs and all of these different places that we have to go to, and it's summertime, what's your recommendation? What do you think people should wear? Because there's no one magazine or layout of how you really need to be. Because when, God forbid, you bump into somebody, oh, aap golf khelne hai, hum bhi golf khelne hai. So, and you know, they're going to look you from down to up, and they'll be like, okay, it doesn't look like as if you're here to play golf. You know? So how do we match?
I mean, country club is like, first of all, I would say that you should be elegantly dressed, because you look at the aesthetics over there and all that. You can't just go in their pajamas and go to the country club or golf club. So the attire has to be proper.
Yeah.
So if you are going there to play golf, let's say, for example, so obviously you cannot wear a suit, you know. I mean, you go there and you're wearing a, so you have to wear the proper golf attire. That could be polo shirt, and that could be nice, you know, cotton pants, you know, which flows very nicely with you and all bit, and nice shoes with the golf shoes and all that. So I would say that I would, but then when let's say, for example, if we have a kind of a luncheon there, maybe I'll put a sport jacket with that, over that, and maybe T-shirt, and that could give you a nice
And
look.
the country clubs are so smart these days that if you're not properly dressed, they'll actually tell you to go back home as well.
Yeah, absolutely they do.
There's
some, you know,
exactly. So now the big fish and the small fish.
Right.
And Mark Zuckerberg.
Well, Mark Zuckerberg, I think you kind of alluded to this. The Mark Zuckerberg, you know, he's a guy that, you know, he wears T-shirts and jeans most of the time, all the time. And without guessing it, let's go to the horse's mouth. You know, somebody asked him, why do you wear T-shirts and jeans all the time? And his answer was this. He said, look, I have no time to think about in the morning what to wear, this, that. I'm so excited, I want to get to work, and so that's why I have a simple wardrobe. But now the same guy had a lot of time to think about what he's going to wear when he was called on the carpet, so to speak, you know, criminal investigation. I mean, they didn't call him there for saying hello to him or hi to him, you know.
Yeah.
And guess what he did? On that day, he spent a lot of time to think about how he should wear. And he wore, just like you said, he wore a suit, not only suit, it was an impeccable suit. He looked like the model of GQ magazine, the Bible of that, you
That's
know.
true.
And had he worn, let me tell you this, because I've lived in America for so long, had he worn t-shirt and jeans, you know what? They would have nailed him. You know why? Not on the matter of the case, but they would have said, this guy has no respect for us.
True.
So that's the bottom
Yes,
line.
yes.
Yeah.
And similarly, when he went to see a Chinese president, guess what he was wearing? He could have easily worn the same thing, but he was wearing, again, a suit, shirt, tie, and whole bit. So it's not like you are going to wear shirt and suit and tie all the time, but it's the context.
And if you also analyze the Ukrainian president, you will constantly see
Yeah.
him in the t-shirt and the jeans. That's
Because of
because
war.
there's a war going on and we want to convey this message that I'm not suited, booted. So I'm always in the war preparation. I'm ready in that. So thank you so much, Hamid Saeed sir, for coming here, for having this very enlightening discussion about the dress codes and about what to wear, what not to wear, the do's and don'ts of
Yeah.
that. And we would like to carry forward this conversation.
Exactly, very quickly. But, you know, ladies and gentlemen, just a quick wrap up. You know, three things which you really need to do. Make sure that when you dress up, you feel confident. When
Yes.
you dress up, you go somewhere, you look trustworthy. And then the last and not the least, that you actually have some authority. So, ladies and gentlemen, please
Yeah.
make sure that if you feel that you have that authority, do not misuse it and do not mislead anybody else
Yes.
as well. We're going
Yeah.
for a short break, but you guys will come back. You know, we spoke about e-commerce and whatnot, and people are so impulsive about fashion. We'll
Yes.
speak about the opportunities e-commerce has to share.
Welcome back, and before going on to the break, Shahzad alluded to what the topic are we going to discuss in this segment, which is about the e-commerce. And Pakistan has a very fertile ground when it comes to the e-commerce, because we see a lot of flourishing businesses on a social media, on a websites, and we see that there are a lot of bloggers who have cropped up. So you see the food blogging, which is a very flourishing
Travel
field.
vlogs.
Yeah, travel logs, it's very saturated also. And then you see beauty blogs, and a lot of people have come up, the local businesses that have cropped up. So we need such sort of commerce, especially in Pakistan. Why? Because obviously dollars always helps the economy, it always saves the economy. And secondly, we have a very vibrant 60% of the young population who are very well versed with the usage of the smartphones. So they're very constructively using the smartphones. And apart from that, you can find millions of ways on the social media, on the YouTube, how to make money on the how effective are those I mean vlogs or YouTube videos. I'm really not sure about it, but you can find that there's a really growing trend, especially among the consumers, among the millennials, about how to incorporate or go into the field of the e-commerce.
Exactly, which is why, ladies and gentlemen, we're very lucky that we've actually been joined by somebody who opened up to e-commerce in 2012, had a great understanding in, I think, next 5 years or 6 years, and then by 2018, he had his own Amazon outlet and made sure that he's going to, you know, sell products which were related to textile. How did he gather that understanding? Number one. Number two, how to create newer job opportunities, and whether all of these videos which people actually share on social media, that this is how they made money,
Yes.
and then you really need to enroll with my course, and that you will be making $5,000 and whatnot. Whether is it true or not, whether is it worth your time or not. Ladies and gentlemen, we're very lucky that we've been joined by the e-commerce consultant, Mr. Hafiz Ahmed. Hello, sir. Assalamu alaikum. Good morning, Hafiz bhai. How are you?
Welcome, Salam. Thank you very much. I'm good. Hope
So
you're
thank you
fine
so
too.
much for joining us, obviously
Thank you.
because we're short on time. So very quickly, new job opportunities within e-commerce. Let's start with that.
Let me start. I'll tell you my journey first. I started in 2012.
Yep.
And basically, I belong to the area, Bahawalpur, Cholistan, where electricity still does not exist
Exactly.
till today.
Wow.
I belong to that area. Then we came to Lahore. Then I went to England in 2011. But let me tell you one thing here. You don't need to go to UK or America in these days.
Obviously.
Now. That was
The internet takes you everywhere.
Yeah, because you are sitting here and you're working in America, you are sitting here, you're working in Canada, you're sitting here, working in
कहाँ
Australia.
काम करते हैं? मैं पूरी दुनिया में काम करता हूँ.
Yeah,
Something like that.
everywhere. And why we are talking about this? Because our country needs dollars.
Yeah.
The person who was earning 50,000 or 60,000 rupees 2 years back, he is now earning I think 60,000 rupees maximum with 10% increment.
Yes, yes.
But the person who was earning $500 2 years back was earning 75 or 80,000 rupees, but now he or she is earning more than 150,000 rupees.
Wow.
With the same, he or she is earning in the same $500,
true.
but now in the peak year it's a big amount. So this is the reason we are teaching to the youth of Pakistan that you need to earn in dollars. Either you sell services, either you sell your product, whatever you sell. I am not talking about Amazon only here, I am not talking about the e-commerce only here. You see about the graphic designer, even the video editor.
Yep.
Someone is sending you the video from UK, you are just going to edit and send him back
Digital
to get your
marketing,
$500.
data analysis, customer services, logistics management,
Yeah.
you know, website development, you know, there's so many different branches to it, but please continue.
Yeah, and there are many other branches as you told about the web development, mobile app development, many things. But why we talk about e-commerce?
Yeah.
We talk about the
Looks
e-commerce
easy.
because this is in the era we are living, the e-commerce is the huge business, the big business. Everyone buys online, especially after COVID.
True.
In COVID, everyone started buying online, started selling online. So everyone is in the world. It's a child, it's a male, female, baba, everyone they are now buying online.
But don't you think, especially the I mean the income that is coming from the, so for example, the companies like if they are PayPal here, so that
Yeah.
would make the freelancers or the people who are working for the
Yeah.
abroad companies, their work really easy. Because I do remember being a student, so there was this very saturation in the concept of getting into the freelance business, because obviously as a student you need your big pocket money. But since there was no PayPal here, so it didn't help me in getting the payments, because you have to route it from some third source, and that's a huge task. So what sort of challenges do you think we are facing in the e-commerce?
You are 100% right. If you talk about the PayPal, of course, 90% of our clients prefer to give payments into the PayPal.
Yes.
What
yes.
people do, they hire someone else that I will get payment in your PayPal, and
Yes.
then he ran away.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's
That's
It
true,
happened to many
that's
people.
true.
But now it's not difficult anymore, because Payoneer, TransferWise, you get your own company, your own LLC in US while sitting in Pakistan.
Wonderful.
You get your own bank account in US while sitting in Pakistan. You don't need to go anywhere. You just get your bank account, you get
Okay.
your company sorted. They will give you payment in that account. And one thing you told about the saturation,
Right.
I don't believe in saturation.
Okay.
Because let me talk about you, female especially. You go to beauty parlor, every woman go. You must know a beauty parlor where the staff is sitting and they have no client. But you don't go there, you are getting appointment, you are going after 3 or 4 days. Why? Because you know that parlor works very good. That the same example I give about
That's
the men.
not exactly my story.
Yeah, that's the same example I give
I was
about the
waiting
men.
for this reaction.
That we go to the saloon,
Yes.
we know many saloons who are always free, but we
Yeah.
don't go there.
Yeah.
We have to wait 2, 3 hours, 4 hours. Why? Because we know this person knows how to work. This person works very good. That's the same in freelancing. If you have good skills, there is no
And
saturation.
this was a very different example for people to understand. But sir, now, you know, for example, where we are speaking about e-commerce, you know, so let me ask you very openly. So all of these videos and people with these courses and whatnot, that, you
Yes.
know, okay, if you're going to enroll in my course, you will be able to make $5,000 or whatnot. Do you think that it has worked for people? I mean, because it has worked for Sean Tate does not really mean that it's going to work for everybody the same way. Because he had a cult where people had a very strong following for that gentleman because of the story that he was sharing, and it was authentic, which was why it actually kind of gained a lot of popularity, and, you know, it gained respect in people's heart, and that's why where he is today. How do you think that people really need to prepare that, okay, you know, if this is something which I want my forte to be, what kind of courses do I need to enroll in? You know, what sort of things or what soft skills do I need to learn? How do I make sure that I enhance my capacity and
Yes.
ability to work, and that too on e-commerce platforms?
This is 100% true. It doesn't work for everyone. I am telling you openly.
No.
There are many people who are our students who have done masters in IT or BScs and they failed in the freelancing. And there are many students who have done only matric or inter and they are successful and they are earning $2,000-3,000. This is actually a skill. And it depends on your hard work and on your consistency.
Yes.
The main problem here is consistency.
Consistency.
We spend 16 hours in our conventional education, matric, inter, graduation, and then we find a job of 25 or 30,000 rupees. After 16 years, And here in freelancing, you want $1 million after 2 months. It's not possible.
That's true.
But yes, I can guarantee you, if you give yourself only 2 years, this I am talking about the maximum, otherwise 1 year with consistency, you will be able to make easily $500 to $1,000.
But what
I'm not
courses,
giving
do,
you
what
millions of
courses do
dollars.
we enroll ourselves in? You know, how do we enhance our capacity and ability to work on e-commerce platforms?
There are many platforms, and you have to choose yourself. First of all, go on the YouTube and watch the videos.
Skill
Check-
कौन सा सीखें?
Yeah,
Skill-
I'm telling you. First of all, you need to check your interest. And I prefer e-commerce skill. In e-commerce, I prefer Amazon.
For example, my
Why?
interest is watching videos online. You know, so how do you think that that can help me be on
Monetize your content.
No, there is no.
That's
such
exactly why I
platform.
said so, because
that's the many people see that the fake videos, that watch videos, you
Yeah.
will earn money. No,
But-
you will
but
never earn
that's
money.
exactly why I actually made this point that, you know, I want people to understand that if you're continuously watching videos only, that means that you're not going to be doing anything
Exactly.
related to e-commerce. Please continue.
So I suggest everyone to start from e-commerce. What is e-commerce and what you have to learn?
Yeah.
You will learn in 2-3 months product hunting, that what services you're going to give to your client. I'm not talking about only Amazon, Walmart, eBay, Etsy, any platform. You have to tell your client what product to sell on Amazon or eBay or Walmart. You have to use softwares, Merchant Word, Helium 10, and don't worry, this is not a rocket science. These are very easy. Let me tell you about myself.
Sure.
I have done my master's in Islamic studies. I have no IT background,
Mashallah.
and
So you were planning to be a teacher or a professor earlier. Was it like that?
no,
Okay.
that was no such planning. And in BA, I failed 2 times
Mashallah.
in English.
Mashallah. ये भी सर
I
accolade
passed
है.
my English in 3rd attempt.
Wow.
But now, alhamdulillah, I'm speaking well, I'm working well. This is all because of consistency.
And you're earning
because of-
well. That's what you're missing out on.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
So you have to tell your client product hunting. And the next step is product sourcing. In this field, the main thing is, if you learn only one skill, you can still earn.
Yeah.
For example, you have learned product hunting, sourcing, PPC, launch rank, but you see yourself good in sourcing. You only provide services of sourcing. Your client will tell you that I need to sell this cushion. You will go to the Alibaba, find many factories in China, get the good price, give to your client, connect them, and you get your $500 in your pocket, just to connect them.
Yeah.
Now it's up to you. Maybe you get the good price in 2 days,
So it's
maybe
more
10
of a
days, maybe
managerial
15
stuff,
days.
you know, that you manage stuff for people, you know, who might not have
you
time
are
to do
actually
that job.
assisting, virtually assisting your client who is sitting somewhere else. And the very main thing is there is PPC, that called pay per click. You have seen sponsor ad on Facebook and YouTube.
Yes, yes.
If you know how to play that ads or how to give sponsor ads to the relevant audience, you can make huge money. You can make thousands of dollars.
Right.
Because everyone knows, I'm not going to take about names here, everyone knows about the drinks, about the Fiji drinks, very famous. We know from our childhood.
Exactly.
Still we see their ads. Same happens in Amazon
Exactly.
and everywhere.
Right.
We have to run our ads all the time. Product hunting one time, product sourcing one time, but PPC runs all the time.
Right.
And everyone can learn and earn. Inshallah, can earn within 1 year and can learn in 2 or 3 months.
That's it,
And
yeah.
we give practical experience. We give practical experience on our real accounts. This is
Wonderful.
how we working.
Then you give
We are
them the
not
money
going to
too
give
as
only
well.
videos.
Then you give them the money too as well, which they earned while working on your accounts.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, many times.
That's wonderful.
Many times we hire from our own students, and
Wow.
we give them money. We refer them clients, many clients, because we have many clients, alhamdulillah.
Wow, that's
And
wonderful.
That's a very attractive option because I
Let's
do
go,
feel-
man. Let's go.
That's and I think the one thing that makes it also attractive is that there is no tax on it, right? So usually the e-commerce or the things that are sold on the business that are flourishing on the internet, they're not taxed as of yet. So that makes it a more vibrant option, and especially considering the fact that 60% of our population is very tech savvy. So you see the Pakistan is making a huge inroads, and that is why the companies like Google, YouTube, they're so much interested in Pakistan because it's the fastest growing market for these giants like the unicorn giants. And with that, we will say thank you to Hafiz Ahmed for coming here
Thank you
for
very
having
much.
this very
And you were
lively
recently
discussion.
actually awarded
Yes.
with another award, and that too
By
by
the
the
Prime
President
Minister.
of the Islamic Republic
Yeah,
of Pakistan. So
alhamdulillah.
congratulations on that
Yeah, in
too
the
as
field
well.
of
You're
e-commerce,
definitely
yeah.
the poster boy of e-commerce away in Pakistan. Very quickly towards the end, ladies and gentlemen, once again, I'm just going to remind you that for anything which you want to do in life, obviously there are certain steps to it. You know, people have gone through that journey. Make sure that you know every step of it. Do not miss out a single step, because then God forbid, you might not make it to the end, or you might not make it where you want to be. And for that, you obviously have people like Hafiz Saab who are e-commerce consultants and made sure that that you are doing what you wanted to do, and that you're going to achieve what you wanted to achieve. Until next time, look after yourselves. Make sure that you keep on praying to Allah Almighty, because He's the one, He's the Almighty who's going to fulfill all your dreams.